Today is Saturday, February 24th, 2024, that I'm recording this video. 2 years ago today, so February 24th of 2022, I attempted to unalive myself and I was subsequently hospitalized. Wait, pause, I have the bracelet. Yeah. Y'all see that? A lot has changed from that time. Surprise, surprise. Obviously, I'm not in the hospital right now. I also don't have those thoughts by the grace of God. I am back in school because if you know, I had to take a little bit of a year leave from school because of it. And generally, I'm a lot happier. I feel a lot more peace in my life. However, this week has been the most difficult for me because I feel as if the guilt that I've been incubating, marinating, if you will, from that time has grown like exponentially during this week. I feel a lot of shame and guilt from my past during that time, especially the fact that I even attempted. I feel a lot of shame and guilt for taking the year off of school, because had I not taken the year off from school, I would have been graduating this semester. I feel a lot of shame and guilt for the stress I put my sister through, my family through. That kind of does eat at me sometimes. I feel a lot of shame and guilt for the friends I've lost. I feel guilty for, again, like my coach back home, God bless him, he helped me so much. But I feel so I feel shameful for how much he did have to help me during that time. And the reason why I'm even bringing this up is because I've been noticing, I'm able to articulate it now, that those events that occurred like now over 2 years ago are dictating the way that I operate now in the present. I feel like I don't go for as many opportunities because I feel like I'm not good enough. The way that I talk to people, I feel like I'm inferior because I'm like, oh, like I had to take a leave, whatever. And I'm making this video today to say this is literally the last year that's gonna happen. I will no longer let my past negatively affect my future. I'm not gonna let that happen anymore, right? And it's easier said than done. This one that I'm experiencing is not anything new. A lot of people feel shame and guilt for their past, whether that they did something they wasn't supposed to do, something happened to them, felt violated. I know I experienced that one when I was assaulted back in like high school, and that was something that took me a long time to like get over. But I'm making the video to say today that like I'm not gonna let that happen no more. We're not gonna let our past continue to affect the way that we're operating in the present, especially when we're not those people anymore. Again, I mentioned all those reasons before. I'm 21 now, I'm not 19 no more. A lot has changed, right? But again, it's easier said than done. So I have noticed in myself that there are a few things that I've started to do subconsciously that I had borrowed from the way that I was able to, in a way, overcome the assault that happened in high school, that I am hoping that whoever has seen this video, they're going through something similar, they will now be able to operate a place of power and not a place of like, oh man, I'm inferior because of something that I've done or something that happened to me. No, we are all humans. And I think like, no one's perfect. It's true. It's so cliche, but it's true, right? Because I have yet to meet someone who's made like no mistake. And if someone says that they made a mistake, they are a liar, right? So the first thing that I started to do in terms of like the inferiority that I experienced coming back to Penn was owning it, right? I think it was in my sociology class that we learned about stigma and how different stigmatized groups of people learn to deal with their stigma. And the one thing that they mentioned was that they have to navigate who they can tell their stigma to, and there's a lot of pressure and anxiety surrounding that. I'm like, yikes, that's me right now. Because at this point in time, like I didn't really tell nobody nothing about my leave, but I was still very shameful about it because I'm like, ew, I did that. No, not anymore. I think like, what was it? Maybe a week or two after that lecture, I made like a post about it. Basically like, yeah, I took a leave. Yeah, I was going through stuff, but I'm better now. And these things happen to people. Reach out if you need help. And surprisingly, I got a lot of positive feedback from that. A lot of positive reaction from that because other people are going through their own stuff too, right? We fail to realize sometimes, especially when we're in the midst of what's going on, that other people also are going through stuff, or we're not the only people that have experienced this one. I think that's a comforting feeling sometimes because especially, well, during my time when I was going through what I was going through, I thought I was the only one. I was like, oh man, that made me feel horrible about myself when I learned that, like, you know, other people are going through this one too. It helps you because you're like, okay, if they're able to get through it, I can get through that too. So I think that one was huge. I think, well, if you're religious, one thing that did help me again get through this one was leaning on God. One good thing that I will say, I don't know, maybe this is cope. The way I'm about to say is that I came back to God. I was like, grew up Christian, but I was low-key lukewarm about it. But I think with everything that happened, right, I found a lot of peace in coming back to God. And there's a particular verse, I might not be able to say it verbatim, but I'll probably put it like here or there, depends on how I feel. I might put it both, but it's 2 Corinthians 5:17. Any man who is in Christ is a new creation. Old things have passed away and all things have become new, right? We are sinners, and the fact that, like, through God I'm able to be a new person. My spirit is renewed. My body here on earth is renewed, right? That is so comforting, because I think especially when you go through a violation, like for example assault, the one thing I wanted to do was I wanted to strip my flesh, and I wanted something new. That was a huge thing I wanted, right? I didn't feel peace in myself, but like that verse, that's like me and that verse are like this, right? Because like through that verse I'm like, okay, like my creator is telling me that I'm a new person in him. Who cares what anyone else thinks, right? I'm fine, I'm good. And that really did help me a lot. I think like also this stuff that I'm like saying, like, oh, I felt shame about this, I felt shame about that, I would tell God first and foremost, like, God, please remove this shame from me. God, I don't know what to do. Lord Jesus, help me. And in telling God, not only is it therapeutic, God's the only person I can tell something to. And I know they ain't gonna judge me. It's not gonna be held against me, right? So religion was a huge one for me, for being able to get over my, get over the mistakes of my past. I think another one too, which ties into like having forgiveness for yourself, is acknowledging that you did the best that you could with the information you had, right? A lot of times we make mistakes in the past and we don't realize they're mistakes until, well, we look back on it. Hindsight's 2020, because now we have new information, right? So for example, when I went to go and attempt, I did it out of a place of like, I feel like I'm not doing good enough. I feel like I'm, man, this sucks to say. Okay, I felt like I wasn't good enough, and I felt like I was so much so a burden to other people that it's just best for me to just not be here anymore, which now, like, it was difficult for me to say because I'm like, that's really flawed. But I'm able to say that now because I have new information. But with the information I had at that time, I thought that was the best idea. And when I acknowledged that, okay, Miss Amoye, she said what she said, did what she did with the information she had, wasn't the best thought, wasn't the best execution of it, but it's okay, because now we know better. She did the best she could with the mindset that she was going through, and now she's doing better. We have to give ourselves grace, right? Especially when we realize that we made a mistake. People make mistakes, right? I think even in the Bible, I don't know what verse it is, but he who has not sinned cast the first stone. If I remember the verse, I'll put it somewhere again, over here or over there. But it's true, right? We've all sinned, we've all made mistakes, right? But we're all trying our best. At least I would like to hope so, right? So if you know, like, I messed up, like, and well, it's okay. You messed up, you continue with your life. I think another thing too, which has definitely helped me, was journaling, meditating, and realizing how much I've grown. It's like me as a person. Okay, this is about to sound so stupid. Of course, I've been with myself every day from that 2022 time to the day that I'm doing this, right? So it's harder for me to acknowledge the changes that I've made, because to me they're gradual to the point that they are like second nature, right? When I look at it from this 2019 time and this 2024, wait, I said 2019, 2022 time and 2024 time, it's like, whoa, I was like night and day. Like, for example, me doing this video stuff, liar, I would never do this back in 2022. Why? Because I was anxious. Even this week, I was feeling so much anxiety about, this anxiety, it's still something I'm working on. It was like debilitating to the point where I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna do the midterm. And I told myself the devil is a liar, and I got up and I did the midterm. I did well on it. So back 2022 time, that my anxiety would have taken over. And then instead of going to the midterm, I would have been thinking the worst things ever. I think too, I'm doing a lot better when it comes to asking for help. And these are things like, girl, I could not say those things back in 2022. Who do you think you are? No. So that's another thing too, like journaling or something. You have to remind yourself when you're going through this thing, I'm not that girl from before. Me, I'm not that girl. If you've done stuff in the past, you're not doing it now, you have to remind yourself, I'm not her anymore. That is not me. That's another thing. I think because I'm gonna keep this short and sweet. Yeah that I did was changing the people I surround myself with, right? Again, I said, like, around here on Penn, I don't be talking to the people I was talking to back in that 2022 time year, because I mean, like, you know, I know my actions affected other people, and I know they probably felt some type of way when I did what I did, why we're not talking. But the people that I've met here now at Penn, my new set of Penn friends, right, they accept me for all parts of me, which is something I didn't really have before with the people that are still here. And when you change the people you surround yourself with for people that you know actually accept you for that kind of one, you don't be feeling no type of way about it, right? Because I was surrounding myself around people that made me feel even worse about the situation that I was in, because sometimes they're acting holier than thou, and that's not good. That's sanctimonious kind of acts. But I'm happier now that that is not the position that I like find myself in, right? So I think that's basically it. I again just hope and pray for you that whatever you're going through, whatever that is, like the thing that keeps you up at night, that the Lord just blesses you and he will set you free, right? I think that, okay, like me, I'm talking like I'm a pastor, but I'm being so honest here, right? God has helped me. God has connected me with people in a way that I never thought possible, right? So I'm very thankful for that. And like, let me not digress too much, but going back with what I've been talking about this whole time, because of God and his grace and his mercy, right, I have been able to make so many strides because of the people and the connections that I've been able to make. And if you're going through guilt, this shame, right, just remember that that was in the past. That's not present. Yesterday's price is not today's price, eh? So I think that's a bit of a ramble there, but thank you, and I wish you all the best, bestie.